So, Coach, last year it seemed like around this time, going into the holiday tournament and stuff, your team seemed to find itself. I know that your last game seemed to be kind of a nice building moment. What do you think about just where you're at going into this year's same time?
Yeah, I mean each year is new, and it's again. I think we played a really good opponent already in Colorado, so that's a plus. We just haven't played a lot of lower tier games, so we won't be surprised by the level of athlete or level of play, hopefully, and so to have that one under our belt helps us. They're showing me good signs in practice. I think they realize how good our opponents are in front of us, so it should be an exciting trip.
When you took this job, you probably didn't expect to play St. John's 3 years in a row, but how different are they from last year to this year?
They still have key players returning from NCAA tournament teams, so that always helps. And those two guys, Mustafa Heron and Figueroa, have both gotten off to good starts. They've really carried the load offensively, and in just about every one of their games, one of those two has had a big night. And then they had their other players are contributing, and they're a distinct style. They look to to play up tempo game. You got to be in really good shape, be prepared for a team that's going to put pressure on you to get, in your transition defense, and and then they rebound fairly well. They'll shoot quick, but they go to the glass well. They're a good team. They've been competitive in all their games, and I think Vermont even flattered their one loss and how well Vermont played last night at Virginia.
Yeah.
What things have you kind of learned about your team that you were kind of hoping to find out so far?
I just think there's a backbone, and we've shown a real competitive spirit in a game where we were shorthanded versus a really good team, and an international trip. So just a lot was thrown at them for their first game, and to be able to compete that well, I thought that showed a lot about our courage, our heart. Got some guys that hate to lose in the locker room, and then just I've touched on it in my press conference after the games. Just that the way we play, we have the potential to play a number of different ways and be versatile that way. And we used our speed and our quickness the last couple of games, and we got to keep incorporating the inside game to our offense to get the balance we're looking for.
What's the challenge of the travel like for you? I mean, you guys were in China, came back, now heading back east. What's that like?
I mean, it's not a perfect situation. It's again, we just gotta make the most of it, and I think this will feel like nothing compared to what we did to start the season at that flight tomorrow. But again, it's a chance to show Arizona State basketball to a different area of the country. It's a great chance for Kamani Lawrence to get home, and that's something that we thought about when we agreed to play in this event, is to give him a chance to get back to his play in front of his friends and family.
It looks like we had a conscious effort with the schedule to really get all the road trips out of the way by the first week of December, then be at home. Was that because of that trip of China? You just didn't want to stack too many road games in December?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. When you're trying to build it and you know that you're up against it with China, we didn't want to have as much travel, going into the Pac-12. So it was like, let's just take it on the chin in November with travel, and then we could, because I think you can make jumps in December as a team, just having more time at home, more practice time on the floor, and such. So it works out pretty well.
You mentioned versatility. How's Valtonen fit in as a versatile piece in that regard?
Yeah, I mean I think the guys enjoy playing, when he's on the floor, because he's he's easy to play. He just kind of fits into what we do, and he knows the system. He is in the right positions. He's not real needy. He doesn't need the basketball in his hands to be effective, and he's in the right places on defense for the most part, and he's shown again a willingness to go in and rebound, especially in the Colorado game. We needed him to. He really battled those bigs, so he's showed a lot of grit, a lot of toughness. I like what we're seeing from Elias.
I know he didn't play that much last year, but that first half he had at Arizona was probably his best showing so far. I mean, do you feel that maybe there's some carryover from that game to now?
I think that there's an adjustment, and there was for him, just just playing the American game and really getting used to the speed of the game, and so sometimes that adjustment was a little longer, and again, it's a product of opportunity too. When you have guys like Zylan and it's just kind of a crowded situation at his position, it's hard to find him minutes, but he has really earned it. He came in and has had really good fall overall in our practices. He's reliable. I think the guys trust him, and he's had a really good start to the season.
With guys like Elias and Kamani coming into the year, knowing how many guards you were going to play, was that something you emphasized, like bulking up and getting maybe pushing them down to more forward, that type of position?
Well, I mean, Kamani is already, he's almost 6'8", and the way the game is evolving and changing, that he has the size and the mass to compete at the 4 spot for the most part, regardless of who we're playing. There's maybe a few select teams that it may not work great. I think the same thing holds true for Elias. He's sneaky. He's 6'7", and again could battle around the basket. So there's flexibility because both of those guys could play either the 3 or the 4. So it helps with just getting the right combinations on the floor.
Coach, I know your focus is on this season, but projecting ahead, what do you think Marcus Bagley is going to be able to contribute to your program on the court and off the court?
Yeah, Marcus again has been a really good player for a long time, and his family has been under the microscope for a while, and he's played in the shadow of Marvin and has handled himself fantastic, and just the transformation that he's made in a few years with his body and what he looks like physically and all the work he's put in is really paying off, and he's got a great future ahead of him, and can't wait to have him here.
Kind of going along the lines of what you said, taking on good teams like St. John's and maybe even Virginia, like how can that help you guys later on in the season, like you were saying?
It's kind of been something that we've been doing for years, just trying to have an aggressive schedule and have a strong strength of schedule. I don't want anyone accusing us of ducking anyone or not wanting to go out and play road games. We'll have 2 road games on our schedule, which a lot of teams may not play one until they hit conference in power. So I think it's important to do that. I think you test your team all the time. You find out through some failure sometimes what you got to get better at and how you got to improve, and you don't do that by just staying at home and not seeking out the best competition you can get.
Coach, obviously you guys have leaned into playing with pace this year. How much has Jalen House contributed to that? Not just because of the defense, but also because of his speed and pushing the tempo on offense.
Yeah, I've said the players kind of steer you in the direction that you need to go, and that's this year's team is no different, and the impact that he has and how he changes the game with pressure, and how we do have other guys with good speed and the ability to pressure the ball like Remy and Verge just give us the opportunity to try and do that. And while a majority of teams might be taking the blueprint of what the Final Four looked like last year, with be it a possession game, low scoring game, low possession game, we're going the complete opposite way. So that's what we're doing.
And that's what you guys plan to keep up?
It's gonna depend on can we impose our pressure on people, and can we speed people up, and if we can't, then we have to be comfortable in that game too, to have good possessions of offense and get the ball inside and take care of the ball and do all the things and guard a team through 30 seconds. If teams choose to do that and they don't turn the ball over, then we have to be up for that challenge, and so we'll see as we go which side wins.
How big has Rob Edwards been so far this season, shot creation wise, and also as a leader, being one of the older players on what is now a pretty young team?
Yeah, I guess we get labeled that because we do have some new guys, but we have quite a bit of experience too. Rob has been through some big games, as has Remy and Romello White, and so there's a number of guys that you could point to. But certainly he leads by example. Like, he is in the gym. He works on his game all the time. He takes care of his body. I hope that the younger guys in the program are seeing how he goes about his business, how he conducts himself, and just feel good for him that he's got off to a good start so far, because he's been through a lot with the back, and and the uncertainty of how he would respond to the surgery, and he's been pain-free, and he just is very happy. He's out there enjoying basketball because he's not really dealing with the back. Yeah.
Since you'll be in the area, was there any conversation with your brother to play him?
No, yeah, if you know me at all, that's probably not going to take place unless it's in NCAA tournament or another tournament that's, and then that'll be a good thing. But yeah, we spoke about me going there. He's actually in an event in Charleston, South Carolina, so he won't be around when we're there.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Molly.
you.
Thank you, guys.